Well, it's been a while since I did a vlog. End of semester, it's really intense, and this particular semester was worse than a lot of them. So, but not as bad as the worst. So, after talking online with Alicia for a long time about poets and watching a bunch of poets on YouTube, I decided to read a couple of chapters out of my favorite book for you, my audience, so that I can practice enunciating to the camera.
See your face.
Through this way. I'm warning you though, if Barrick spends enough time around Jordan to learn to sneeze for attention. That's a little dangerous. I don't want them competing too badly. Right next to each other makes me nervous. Alright, there's no more food now. So, this is a book called A Nameless Witch. The subtitle's called A Tale of Vengeance, True Love, and Cannibalism. It's by A. Lee Martinez. The author also wrote Gil's All Fright Diner, which I also really liked, but this is about a witch, and since I'm a witch, I have a tendency to be like, woot, witch books! This was introduced to me by my ex-fiance, which I think that was part of one of the best parts of our relationship, is we shared books. We shared a lot of books. I'm particularly missing the Clerical Quintet. It was a really good book series that he had that I haven't read in a while. Alright. A Nameless Witch by A. Lee Martinez. Chapter 1. I was born dead. Or to be more accurate, undead. Not that there is much difference between the two, it's just a matter of degrees, really. When I say undead, I do not mean vampire, ghoul, or graveyard fiend. There are many versions of unlife. These are only the most common. My state was far less debilitating. Bright lights bothered me to some noticeable degree, and I preferred my meat undercooked. Once reaching adulthood, I'd become ageless. Most means of mortal harm could not truly hurt me, and I possessed a smattering of unusual gifts not known among the living. Yet all these advantages came at a high price. Exactly how I came to be born undead is a long, complicated story, really not worth telling in detail. It involves my great-great-great-great-grandfather, a renowned hero of the realm, and his conflict with a dark wizard. This wizard, his name is lost to history, so I just call him Nasty Larry, for his convenience sake, had raised an army of orcish zombies to ravage the land. Now, everybody knows that orcs are terrible things, and zombies aren't much fun either. Mix the two together and you get an evil greater than the sum of its parts. Naturally, a legion of heroes was assembled, and the requisite last stand against Doomsday was fought, and won by a hair's breadth. My great-great-great-great-grandfather slew the Nasty Larry, cleaving his head from his shoulders with one sweep of a mighty broadsword. Nasty Larry's head rolled to his slayer's feet and pronounced a terrible curse, as decapitated wizards' heads are prone to do. With my dying breath, I curse thee and thy bloodline. From now until the end of time, the sixth child of every generation shall be made a gruesome abomination. A twisted, horrible thing that shall shun the light and dwell in miserable darkness. That bit of business finished, Nasty Larry died. According to legend, he melted into a puddle, the sky turned black, and, if no one could believe such tales, the land within 100 miles turned into inhospitable swamp. That was the end of Nasty Larry's small yet noteworthy influence on my life. I often wondered why my parents chose to have a sixth child, being forewarned as they were. They had many excuses, the most common being, we lost count. Second common and far more acceptable in my opinion was, well, none of our family had ever had a sixth, and we thought it might not have taken. Perfectly reasonable, not all curses grab hold, and one that couldn't live one's life fretting over every utterance of every bodiless head run ran across. Being undead was not all that horrible a curse. Unfortunately, this was not the end of my worries, for besides being made a thing born to dwell in darkened misery, I was also made, in the infinite wisdom of fate, a girl. These two conditions, taken individually, were minor handicaps, but toss them together and you would understand the difficulties I experienced growing up. There are kingdoms where a woman is prized for her mind, where she is more than a trophy or a poorly paid housemaid. Kingdoms where chains of 1,000 years of chauvinism have finally rusted away. I was not born in one of these kingdoms. I was not very popular among the male suitors of my village. It was nothing personal. Husbands just prefer living wives. And so, I met few potential spouses locked in my parents' basement. At the age of 18, I was already an old, undead maid, sitting in a darkened cellar waiting to die. Of course, I don't die. Not like normal people. Certainly old age wouldn't accomplish the task. So I settled in for a very long wait. I figured it would be another 50 years before my parents died, and one of my brothers or sisters would inherit caretaking duties of their poor wretched sibling. Or one of their children would take over next, and so on, until one day they either forgot about me, all died, or maybe, just maybe, an angry mob would drag me from the shadows and burn me at the stake. Not much to look forward to, but no one's master of their fate, and my lot was not all that terrible in the end. All that changed with the arrival of ghastly Edna.